on Tuesday.
Hi, beautiful people. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is Beautiful Life, yes. And I'm gonna listen to Matt Bean. Let me see what's to Matt Bean Immigration TV. Let's listen, okay? Let's listen.
Tuesdays. Let's see. I've answered that one. Let me go down here. I've got to get to my consultations. Someone says that I got married last month. I have DACA and I have a legal entry from advance parole. Should I apply now for adjustment of status or wait at least 6 months? Where are you getting 6 months from? I'd really like to know, first of all, is it from other attorneys or, I don't know, blogs? In any event, you individuals who have recently gotten married and they are thinking about applying for filing the green card should focus again on the body of evidence that I mentioned earlier. Focus on pulling all of those stuff together. And then go in with a strong case to the government, a convincing case. Now is not the time to send a bare bones marriage case to immigration because under this new system, a bare bones process can get you denied very quickly. And then you lose your filing fees and then have to start all over again or try to appeal that decision. But if you don't send the government the amount of evidence that they're seeking to approve your case, then you're basically throwing away your filing fees. All right, so focus on pulling together the evidence. If you missed my rundown earlier, just watch this video, go right out after the session ends. So once you have your evidence together, absolutely get your case filed. How long does it take for the BIA to terminate asylum case appeal, to terminate after my I-130 is approved and filed to get rid of my asylum so I could do the I-45? So you're waiting on the BIA at this time. My question is, before your case went to the BIA, did you do prosecutorial discretion? Did ICE or DHS sign off on a joint motion to terminate and then sent that on to the BIA for termination for sign-in, or are you go directly to the board by sidestepping the PD or ICE process and you went directly there to the board? The timeline is a little, I'm asking these questions because the timeline is a little different in many cases. But if you went directly to the board with your case, you could be looking at maybe more than a year of waiting for them to make a decision. And the BIA process, guys, just a warning. I think cases are going to be pending very, very, very long at the BIA going forward because of the department policies and all of the changes. Friends, this is enough for today. I've got to get to my consultations. It was really nice being with you today. Reach out to us at McBean Law 914-898-9488 or email us and we'll be happy to book a consultation for you. Also, follow me on the social media platforms. I usually try to do a live on social media on Tuesdays or Wednesday evenings. It just depends. If there's any breaking news or other information that I'd like to share with you, I will go live right away and connect with you about the breaking news. Thanks so much for being with me today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you in the next.
Okay, so Matt Bean Immigration TV, that's on YouTube. Yes, you can follow her for all your information you need regarding immigration, right? So let me see what else she have I can tap into. Uh, uh, Okay, let's listen to this one. Florida passes bill making it a crime to be undocumented. New law explained. All right, so let's listen to this from Matt Bean. Okay, very interesting. Let's skip that.
To do in Florida is to spread even more fear to Floridians. For 1 million undocumented immigrants in the state of Florida
Hi,
today,
and
okay?
Kit. Hi,
And
MA.
they are working.
Hi,
Okay?
MA.
They are working. They are taking care of people's children. They are healthcare workers. They are working in agriculture. They are working in the restaurant industry. They are working all across the state of Florida. Yet they got this huge slap in the face today by their governor and legislators. They are essentially making it a crime to be an undocumented person in the state of Florida. So the first big part of the legislation, the new law in Florida, is that it creates a state immigration board that will oversee $250 million in grants and taxpayer money to be distributed among local law enforcement throughout the state of Florida to behave like ICE agents, essentially, to get involved in immigration enforcement. And so they are injecting more money into law enforcement to take on this additional role and hat of playing agents, so to speak, with respect to immigration enforcement and working and coordinating more so with the federal government on this, on immigration crackdown. Secondly, and I talked about this last night, is there's this mandatory death penalty part of this as well, which applies to undocumented immigrants convicted of capital offenses, which includes certain crimes against children, of course, and murder, and some other types of capital offenses in Florida include things like drug trafficking. It's not just murder. Okay, when we hear capital, we tend to think murder. Okay, so they're just talking about murderers. I don't care. I'm going to tune them out because I'm not a murderer. I don't know a murderer, so I'm just going to tune them out. But in the state of Florida, capital offenses are broader than murder. So there's the death sentence and strips away the discretion that the jury would have as it relates to the sentence and part of things. So that's actually a very big concern. The other big part of what they have done there is they are making it illegal to enter into Florida if you're undocumented. I have no idea, guys, how they're going to actually execute and implement this. It was so clear tonight, too, through Governor DeSantis. They're now going to try to figure out how to implement all of this. I don't know if they have a plan or not. How are they going to enforce this? How are they going to actually make it a criminal misdemeanor offense, punishable up to 9 months in jail? Misdemeanor, if you've entered the state of Florida as an undocumented person. Misdemeanor, up to 9 months in jail. Then, if this is your second offense, so to speak, with this illegal re-entry into the state of Florida, guys, I'm just talking about this and shaking my head, and on the inside, I'm like, all fired up. This is so stupid. That's why. Illegal re-entry into the state of Florida. Felony. Second offense. Felony. Minimum of 1 year and a day in prison. Felony. If you're caught re-entering the state of Florida illegally. Yes, racial profiling is how they're probably going to do this, because I can't fathom how they're going to put together a coordinated statewide plan to really enforce this kind of dumb law. Then there's this thing about migrant transport program changes. The state can relocate migrants only if the federal officials request and fund it. And then here's the other part of this that is really not amazing, is that it mandates that state and local governments must cooperate with the federal government on immigration enforcement. They absolutely must do it. Sheriffs and jails must cooperate with ICE, and there's a fine that's part of that and possible suspension if they do not cooperate with ICE. And then there's this other thing here about pretrial detention for certain crimes, mandatory pretrial detention for undocumented immigrants accused of forcible felonies, and so it's immediate detention if you're accused of forcible felonies. And then lastly, this one has to do with students. It removes the in-state tuition benefit for undocumented students. This is the worst thing I have seen in a very, very long time. Breaking news.
Migrants are burning folks alive on the subway, but still getting billions of dollars from the government. All the out.
My good. Thank you. All right, let's go, guys. Freedom Now. It's great to be back before you. It is Wednesday, February 12th. Thank you so much for being patient while I was on vacation, okay? I needed a little rest. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Hey there, Keisha. Thank you so much. Chuck, how are you guys feeling? How are you guys feeling tonight? Marie, it's great to see you. Hey there, Lynn. Good to see you. Thank you, MH. Shabir, thanks so much for being here. We're going to have a great time tonight. We have a lot of immigration news to catch up on, including some breaking news that came out tonight. All right, excellent. It's good to see you guys. Type in freedom now, freedom now, freedom now. I'm Latoya McBean Pompey, an immigration lawyer in New York, working with clients nationwide at McBean Law, where we believe that freedom is now, it is urgent. And if you believe that freedom is urgent, type in freedom now. Now, guys, our contact information is scrolling above. Certainly reach out to us during business hours to book an appointment with an attorney. For tonight's purposes,
Okay, and that's McBean Immigration TV on YouTube. You can go check them out. Let's listen to all this information regarding immigration, okay?
we're going to talk about a whole lot, okay? You guys, things are crazy in America right now, okay? Crazy in America right now with
Very
immigration.
crazy.
You have a major showdown happening between the feds and the states, and then you have major things happening by certain states who are trying to be like a mini me federal government. Okay, we're going to start off with the first state like that, and it is Florida. Guys, Florida is going to be a very, very dangerous place to be. Okay, very soon. For those who are you're on a pathway to getting your status fixed and you're in the state of Florida, watch this, listen up, share this live session with others. This is not fear mongering. As a matter of fact, Florida right now is gearing up to have another special session come back on Monday. The legislature is going to come back next week to work on major immigration reforms. And you might be saying, but we've already been down this road before. We've already done some bad things in Florida. What now? Well, what now is that Governor DeSantis is actually getting more of what he wants, and he wants to be a mini-me federal government. He wants to take on immigration enforcement in a very strong way in the state of Florida. And specifically, guys, what they're working on, they've carved out a deal that number one would make it a state crime to enter Florida as an undocumented immigrant, a state crime. And then they also, as part of this deal, would end what they're calling catch and release for criminal undocumented immigrants. Unclear what they're talking about there. They're ending catch and release. But then what I find to be really, 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 really concerning is the fact that under this new compromise deal in the state of Florida, all state and local law enforcement agencies would be required to help the federal government with immigration cases and deportations. They are going to make it mandatory for local police, okay, to get involved with immigration enforcement. And immigration, guys, is a federally controlled process and system. The feds hold all the power with immigration. But now Florida is saying, well, we want to do more because we would like to join President Trump and be a strong proponent of what President Trump is doing. And so Florida would like to, the state is moving towards a policy that says counties cannot have their individual rules or laws that governs whether or not they're going to help ICE or DHS with their enforcement activities. No, they can no longer have those types of policies on, on the record. And so it's that, to me, is very, very, very dangerous. Okay. And then also, as part of that new deal, they're reporting that there would be no in-state tuition awarded to undocumented immigrants, and then the governor will maintain control over immigration laws over the state of Florida. That's one major bad thing that's happening there. Okay. There's a second one, guys, involving Florida, and it has to do with the the death sentences. Florida seeks mandatory death sentences in a new immigration bill. Another and I don't use the word dangerous often. For those of you who have been following me for several years now, I'm usually very neutral when I talk about policies. Sometimes you're probably thinking, what do you really think, McBean? And I tell you most times what I'm really thinking. And I rarely use the word dangerous because I don't want to get anyone all riled up. But I really think that you guys need to pay attention to what's happening in Florida, because these are dangerous policies that they're putting in place. And this one in particular would remove jury discretion from during the process of sentencing individuals who are convicted of capital offenses. So here's what happened. Florida lawmakers, they're proposing a bill that would make the death penalty mandatory for undocumented immigrants convicted of capital crimes. And they would remove jury discretion and potentially violate constitutional law. Okay, and so there's concern with this particular bill that it's going to violate the Eighth Amendment and contradict past Supreme Court rulings in Florida. So we're talking about capital offenses, right? We're talking about homicide, obviously, but in the state of Florida, Florida does things a little differently. Capital crimes in Florida includes things like controlled substance trafficking, drug trafficking. It also includes sexual abuse of young children. And so this would mean that the bill could make these particular offenses make mandatory, I should say, the death penalty for these particular offenses, and takes away the right of the jury to make the decision as it relates to whether the death penalty should apply to this particular capital crime or not. So this is another one that just came out, and it's very new. There's, guys, Florida is now saying that obviously they want to be the toughest state in the nation on immigration. And if the legislature does what we're expecting it to do next week with this whole compromise, it's really going to shake things up in the state of Florida. And I believe that it's going to lead to a lot more racial profiling. You're going to have local police out there thinking that they are ICE, and they're doing the job of a federal agent and helping to carry out immigration enforcement, and they won't have any choice in the matter. Their job is on the line. They'll just have to do it. And so you might be saying, well, if they're going to be doing that, what about if John Doe, U.S. citizen John Doe, starts beating his wife? Are we talking about taking away resources from going to arrest John Doe, U.S. citizen, for domestic violence because the police, they're too busy looking for immigrants? Yeah, maybe, right? Because the resources are not that many, right? Not that much, I should say. So let's keep watching Florida. Florida is very disappointing right now, like extremely disappointing. So you've got to be very careful in the state of Florida, guys. Now, the next big thing is this, and this just happened tonight, okay? Tonight, and it has to do with New York. So the Department of Justice has sued the state of New York over immigration enforcement. They want access to a database that the state has on that includes names and addresses, right? DMV has its database. As some of you New Yorkers know, here in New York, undocumented immigrants are get issued a driver's license, okay? And so the Justice Department tonight has sued Governor Hochul over the state's green light law, which restricts federal immigration authorities, restricts their access to DMV records. And the feds are saying this violates the supremacy clause of the United States Constitution by obstructing federal immigration enforcement, which is ridiculous. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. Attorney General Pam Bondi criticized the law for its tip-off provision, which alerts individuals when immigration officials request their information. She accused New York of prioritizing undocumented immigrants over U.S. citizens. In response, New York Attorney General Letitia James defends the law. Of course, she's defending the law, stating that it protects residents' rights and safety. The lawsuit is similar to the next one that I'm going to discuss that happened a few days ago in Chicago. But in any event, the new Attorney General warned that other states that fail to comply with federal law could face legal action next. So here's this bullying happening by the Department of Justice, which, by the way, has a lot of important things to think about and go after, right? But they're rallying all, it seems, their resources around immigration when there are also terrorists out there. There are some national security concerns that we have as a nation, right? They're rallying so much resources around immigration, guys, that the Attorney General is so focused on immigration enforcement that they're filing these ridiculous lawsuits against states like New York, and the next one, it's Chicago, Illinois. Okay, Illinois and Chicago, a lawsuit was filed by the federal government trying to argue that the sanctuary laws, again, in the state of the state of Chicago, the state of Illinois, is hindering immigration enforcement. This lawsuit was filed, I want to say, on February 6th, accusing the Democratic strongholds of unlawfully interfering with Republican President Donald Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration and seeking a court order blocking so-called sanctuary laws. Specifically, the department in the Justice Department in the lawsuit sought to block several Illinois and Chicago laws that interfere with and discriminate against immigration policies, Trump's immigration policies. The lawsuit says that sanctuary laws such as the Illinois Trust Act, which prevents state and local law enforcement from assisting federal civil immigration enforcement, violate the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause that states that federal law preempts state and local laws that may conflict with it. So my take on this, guys, is that this one is another very quite a ridiculous lawsuit, because imagine this, right? Here you have the federal government with its mandate to enforce immigration laws and a budget to do that. And then you have the state of Illinois. By the way, there's the 10th Amendment, state rights, right? So here you have the state of Illinois exercising its powers, it's police powers, it's welfare powers, and all of that. They create their little budget, carve out their budget, and they in their budget they indicate, okay, here's where the money is going, and then you have local government, more budget happening to determine how the allocation of resources, scarce resources, should be allocated. And oh, that's the police will have X amount to do their local law enforcement job to go after John Doe for beating his wife, and they're to fight crime. And so you have the federal government now telling the locals how to use their resources. Use your resources now to do immigration enforcement. They're trying to strong arm the locals. And this, I think, is incredibly wrong. And I think that this is going to backfire on them. Okay? They are trying to commandeer. That's you can look that word up if you don't know what that one means. Trying to commandeer, trying to use their strength as a federal government to strong arm the states and the locals to carry out immigration enforcement. Guys, I hate all of this. I'm so upset about this. I just hate to see this happen. It's so bad. And what's even worse is that it's impacting real people right now, because you see ICE overstepping. And we're going to talk about ICE arrest data at the end of this session. If you're enjoying this, guys, type in Freedom Now, say I'm enjoying it, give me some hearts. Or thumbs up. This is YouTube, so just go ahead and hit that like button. All right. And now we're gonna just kind of play a little catch up, because it's been a long time since I did a live because I was away. The other news that you guys probably obviously already know about, but we hadn't talked about it yet, is the fact that the Homeland Security chief will be deputizing IRS agents to perform immigration enforcement activities, because there are there's a lot of money at the IRS, right? Thanks to Joe Biden, a whole lot of money went to the IRS, and they have a lot of agents, and those agents who are already involved in criminal investigations will be deputized to help ICE, help Homeland Security carry out immigration enforcement. Specifically, Secretary Noem sent a letter on February 7th to the Treasury Secretary to request agents to help dig in to human trafficking networks, find businesses hiring workers in the U.S. illegally, and assist with other immigration-related tasks. So they're tapping into the IRS agents' investigatory abilities, so to speak, so that they could go out and help them with immigration enforcement. So there's that. The other news, guys, has to do with take a deep breath. I have to take a deep breath before I say this one. South Africa. Okay, we've all been seeing the TikToks. We all have our opinions about this one. Those on TikTok, of course, where folks are saying, well, we don't want a refugee. Are you kidding me? Me? Why would I come to America as a refugee? But apparently some people are also interested in this opportunity, from what I'm hearing. But this is just ludicrous to me. Okay, am I at the end? What else is left? I think the last part of what I want to share with you tonight, as far as an update, is ICE arrest data. From what I understand, it's they've arrested 11,000 people so far. So far, 11,000 people. They've released close to 500 of them, however, because these are individuals who maybe there was no room for them. There was no room. Again, resource problems, or these individuals have an immigration case pending, and it looks like they might actually get a green card through the lawful process that they are part of. And so they made the decision to release them. This is what ICE does, guys. This is what they do. They release some people, okay? Some people just get a notice to appear in the immigration court to begin the removal process and they are released, and that's that. For some others, you have to actually put in a motion for a bond, and we do those, and make an argument for their release. For others, very few, there's mandatory detention in which, under our law, they must stay in, and they cannot get, they won't be released during their removal process. So, every case is different, certainly. All right, guys, that's what's going on in America tonight with immigration, okay? A lot is going on. So let me just quickly jump in here at the comments and see what you guys are saying. I do not have any news specifically on the DREAM Act. I know that just a few days ago, it was reintroduced in the House because President Trump, the congresswoman who reintroduced it said, well, President Trump said he wants to help dreamers, right? Now let's see what he does with this. So we're tracking that to see how that progresses. Okay, Freedom Now. But there are a number of bills that are brewing on the House side and on the Senate side that I will be talking about with you guys very soon. The script is all ready to go. All right. So stay tuned for things. What you're going to be hearing, guys, from Capitol Hill, you'll be hearing from me very soon on it, is that they're trying to put in place, pass more draconian laws. Good night, Kerwin. Good to see you. They're really trying to do that. And some things are redundant because, we already have certain laws on our books. So why are they doing this? They're enhancing sentences, making it harder, longer for people to be free from, their criminal background. But stay tuned. Stay tuned for me to talk about it, okay? Obviously, I'm kind of excited to be back before you guys. Freedom now, freedom now, freedom from the bondage. Okay, yeah, freedom from, I think it's immigration can be bondage. Okay, how much for a consultation? It starts at $250 at our office. Thank you. All right, freedom now, freedom now. I have not looked at the March. I have not looked at the visa bulletin for March. I know that, I think it's out. I'm not sure. I have not looked at the visa bulletin. I thought I saw something on this tonight. As a matter of fact, I do think it's out. Give me a second here just to confirm. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's out. I have not looked at it yet, though. All right. Thank you for helping out. Yes, it's 300 for me, 250 for my colleagues. Thank you. Freedom now, guys. Freedom now. Hope you're doing well. Freedom now from Indiana. I have not seen we've talked about the fact that the DREAM, I believe it's the DREAM Act was reintroduced. Let's see. Why am I not seeing? I haven't dived into that bill yet. I haven't dived into that yet. Where in Florida is your office? So we do not have an office in Florida. We're based in New York, in White Plains, New York. However, we do work with clients in Florida. If you have a pending case with a court date, is there a concern of being picked up by ICE? No, if you're already in removal proceedings, you're in process, you're not the focus of their attention at this time. Thank you guys for your patience. I was recovering from a little cold that developed at the end of my vacation. Go figure. Like, really? But I'm doing much better now. Thank you for your patience. That's why I couldn't meet with you on Monday. I was like, I couldn't talk very well. Thank you. Thank you. Freedom now, guys. Let's see. VAWA is 3 years. Well, it had been, I don't, 3 years for VAWA to process. After receiving your Social Security card, how long does it take to receive your green card? It just really depends on the processing times that USCI that's in your jurisdiction. For some people, it could happen very quickly, but look at the processing times on the government's website. Let's see. I'm gonna be going most. Please take care of your health. I know. Yes, trust. That's why I went away because I take care of me, right? You know how many times people meet with me and here's what they say to me: "Oh, my lawyer died." Right? Like, oh, the lawyer died. Lawyers are notorious for not taking care of themselves. I'm not just a lawyer, I'm a business owner actually. So that's even more intense. So I've got to focus on taking care of my health. I agree with you. Let's keep going. What about the I-601 approval? I-601 approval, what about it? What do you mean, what about that? Oh, let's see. I have not visited my immigration court as yet, and my wife is not helping me after being married for 12 years. What I would be focusing on is if you're in removal proceedings, you've got to make sure that you appear for every hearing. If you do not appear for a hearing, then a judge can issue the judge will issue a removal order against you in your absence. If your wife isn't helping you, if your wife is not filing for you, you could talk with us about what's going on in the marriage, and it might even be possible for you to have a domestic violence VAWA case, but we will have to assess your case very carefully. Should we contact a lawyer before any problems? Patel, so Patel, contact a lawyer before any problems. You want to contact a lawyer if you have a case. If you have a case, most of us lawyers at that point will say, okay, let's work together on the case. Every lawyer is different. Some lawyer might say, okay, well, we'll just go on retainer, even though there's really no work for us to do right now. But you could shop around and see what works best for you. For us, we actually look for a case. Hey there, Scott. Good to see you, sir. It's been a while. Let's see. You're welcome. The 601, it depends. We've seen some approved in less than a year, along with the adjustment of status case. And it also depends on if you file the 601 based on a process that you're doing here in the United States versus outside of the United States. It tends to be a little faster, actually, if you're outside of the U.S. and you file the 601 to address an inadmissibility problem. Can someone change from asylum to marriage case during the immigration process? Absolutely, Giwa or Hakim. Yes, absolutely. It happens all the time. Okay, I see that, Imesh, that your court date is in 2026. So with your court date in 2026, you haven't been there yet. I saw your earlier comment. You haven't had your first hearing yet. It is a good idea to hire a lawyer to see what a relief could potentially be filed for you with immigration court. You can contact us to talk about your background and see what might be helpful to you. If someone is trying to do adjustment of status after entering through the CB1, I think that to answer a question about would there be any problems, I'm not sure. I won't know whether there will be any particular problem with that process. We've got to go a little deeper one-on-one. Let's see. now is not the time for me to actually look at questions related to timeline with citizenship and how, numbers. I'm really not thinking at 10 o'clock at night about going through the mental leap. I'm not going to think that hard. Guys, I'm not going to think that hard. I just want to tell you that I think that on Mondays at 1 o'clock, and I missed that slot, I think a lot better. So don't make me think too hard tonight. I'm not going to do it. Okay. Someone says that I got an approval of the I-824. What's next? What does this mean? So it means that the approved petition that USCIS has on your behalf, Michael, is going to be sent over to the National Visa Center for them to start the process, the visa application process, and you hear from the Visa Center once they have your case. All right, guys. All the nice folks are out tonight in the comments. This is great. The trolls got tired of waiting for me to come back from vacation. So all the good people are here. It's so good to see you guys. What if I'm under widower's protection? You'll be fine. You have an I-360 file based on being a widower. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Thank you. Stick to the law. I'm going to stick to my opinion too, okay? Jamie, I'm here to share my opinion and the law, okay? So that's never going to change. And I don't like it when people tell me what to do. I never do it. Never. Can an immigration case be transferred from Florida to another state? So if you're in immigration court D in, I don't know if it's court that you're in or if you had started your immigration case with USCIS through, while you're living in Florida. But if an individual moves and they have a case pending with immigration, you should absolutely update your address. And yes, a case can be transferred to a local jurisdiction in another city. If you're in immigration court, your court can also the judge can consider a motion to change venue, to change your court from one city to the next. It happens all the time. But Florida, I'm telling you, Florida is really, Florida is really making me upset these days. Freedom now. Florida is pushing it too far. Thank you guys, Freedom Now. So long as TPS is still grateful, so long as TPS designation is still active, the redesignation, yes, you can do a renewal of your TPS. Let's see, let's go back up here. If you're a green card holder with a felony, is it advisable to file for citizenship right now, Nikki? So, Nikki, I would say that you should speak with an attorney, and you could get different opinions, of course, on the matter. I would not touch citizenship right now with a felony record, but again, speak with someone one-on-one about that. Okay. Thank you. Sun Cam says that he or she's in Miami and a U.S. citizen. I'm just here to learn. That's great. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Let's keep going. My VAWA was denied in 2022. Can I refile it? You might be able to. It just really depends on the facts. Are you guys still married? If you're not married, how long ago were you divorced from the abuser spouse who's a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? What were the reasons why that VAWA case was denied? were there certain was it based on lack of evidence, or what were the circumstances for the denial? We would want to look at the denial letter and ask you a number of questions, Shannon, to determine whether or not you should refile. Okay, you should refile. Yes, cover me. I like this. Thank you, Maureen. I appreciate it. Yes, I am covered. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love it when people connect with me in certain ways. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Georgia. Drug youthful offender. Can they still apply? I see that question. So it's I think that you should we could talk one-on-one about that. Immigration has a way of really wanting to know about everything and when it all happened, how things ended, what type of drug was involved, right? There's so much to it that immigration will want to know. So certainly speak with a lawyer before you consider doing anything. Hey there, Jane. Good to see you. Great to see you. You visa.
Okay, people, this is it. I'm listening to Matt Bean Immigration TV on YouTube, so you can go there and check it out. Yes, because a lot is going on in Florida. It's frightening, isn't it? Boy, so that means at the end of the day, it's only everybody in Florida would be legal. Everybody would have to be legal, even children. So because they're gonna go into the schools, cut funds for children who are getting assistance. That's frightening, eh? So when I think about it, for those who not documented, probably it's best to go home before they send you home. Easier said than done, but can you imagine those people who have their houses or paying mortgage and oh my god. Oh my god, that is so frightening. You don't even know where to turn. Yes, so but if the way Florida working, then well, maybe it's try go to another state, which is not that hard at the moment. Either go to this another state. Oh boy, anyway you go, it stick gonna hit you, right? Stick gonna hit you, my god. And then when you have your children and to go back home, take your children. When you go back home, you don't know where to start. Doesn't matter which part of the world you are. It's gonna be difficult, It's gonna be so hard. Oh God. Okay, lovely people. This is it for the moment. So remember to like, share, subscribe to Beautiful Life. Catch you later. Bye. Thanks for listening and watching.